Welcome back to Q Sports News. I'm your host, Adam King, and this week we're doing something kind of fun I've wanted to do for a while. We're doing a top 10 money breakdown from AZ Billiards of the top 10 finishers this year. A lot of big money made this year, a lot of cool stories, but first, being true to the name, Q Sports News, we got some snooker for you. We have a little bit of WPBA coverage, and let's get right to it. Firstly, on December 6th through the 10th, we had the WPBA Dr Pool Classic won by Jasmin Ouschan. Jasmin Ouschan's second win this year. Jasmin Ouschan's having a low-key, great year, actually. I need to look through that to see all the results more thoroughly, but Jasmin Ouschan with at least her second WPBA win, fantastic finish for her. And another Taipei player that's been finishing high every year got second to Jasmin, Su-Chin Wei, having a great year as well. A lot of the Taipei ladies coming over this year on the WPBA and really making a mark. Another one I wanted to mention, though, in third place, her best finish on the WPBA ever, Kaylee McIntosh, a young lady from the USA, being very consistent as well on tour. She's been in the top 16 a lot. I don't believe she's over 20 years old. Really good to see a young USA women's player coming up and making a real mark. In fourth place, the Duchess of Doom, Allison Fisher. Allison's really been in a lot of finals this year, a lot of top threes. It's great to see at her age, Allison Fisher, a credit to the game, and we will all be sad the day she finally hangs her cue up. In the first, fifth, sixth position, we have Brittany Bryant from Canada having a great event. Margaret Fifilova-Steyer also having another great event, finishing in the second, fifth, sixth position. Kristina Sleteva coming in seventh, eighth with Pamela Kelly, April Larson, and Brianna Miller. Kelly Fisher finishing in the 9th through 12th position, not winning for once on tour. Kelly Fisher had an amazing year and really showed that she's the most dominant female player on earth. But well done again to Jasmin Ouschan, hell of a year for her. And that was the final event, December 6th through 10th, again for the WPBA. And for a small tour this year, I thought the production value was really high. I hope we see more WPBA events next year because the women's scene is getting stronger and stronger, and it's awesome to see. And it's so international now as well. It's amazing. The USA is always just hoping we can keep one or two players at the top of the game. Moving on to some snooker coverage, though, we had a bunch of really interesting things in snooker in December. The first of these being Ronnie O'Sullivan winning his 8th UK championship. I mean, I can't even describe how amazing that is. When you get to Ronnie's records, it's just on and on and on and on and on. Ronnie's doing so many things, it's almost getting uninteresting almost. You're just like, yeah, who's the best player? Ronnie. Who has the most championships? Ronnie. Who won the most ranking events? Ronnie. On, and the most centuries. He's got everything. But anyhow, amazing. Ronnie O'Sullivan beating Ding Junhui 10-7. That was ending December 3rd. It started in November. We didn't mention it last month because it did stretch into this month. But Ronnie O'Sullivan with his 8th, a record extending 8th UK. He broke the old record with 7, and now he broke his own record with his 8th UK. Ronnie O'Sullivan's new book, Unbreakable, is fantastic, and his new documentary, The Edge of Everything, is getting really good reviews. I'm going to get to that as soon as I can. I still haven't been able to find it in the U.S. If you know how to find it in the U.S., actually, hit me up in the comments, actually. I would really like to know. Or if you have a version I can use, I will not rat you out. But anyway, I would really love to see it. So, yeah, remember that. And Ronnie is on a roll at 47 years old, too, by the way. Just, way to go for the old guys, Ronnie. And secondly, December 7th, at the Bet Victor Shootout, Mark Allen became the first player ranked inside the top 16 to be a shootout winner. If you're not familiar with the snooker shootout, it's a really interesting concept. They only do it one time a year. All the players are on a clock. They have a certain amount of time they can shoot in. They have to play quite quickly, so the frames of snooker go very fast. And one player plays another one frame. That's it. It's really exciting. The crowd is encouraged to yell and go crazy, and there's drinking, and it's a totally different thing than you ever see in snooker. The players don't wear the traditional dress. They wear more of a sporting type jersey. It's a really good time, and Mark Allen, who isn't really known as the fastest player in the world, came through to win that. And Mark Allen, having his best season ever, fantastic. The young man from Belfast has lost a ton of weight. He looks great, and we're really looking forward to see Mark Allen next year, especially at the World Championships, which he's never gotten past the semis. So let's go Mark Allen, and well done on winning the shootout. And lastly, another cool story from snooker, Gary Wilson defends his Scottish Open crown on December 17th. Gary Wilson, not known as being a ranking event winner as far as winning multiple ranking events a year, and now he's going back-to-back at the Scottish Open. We're hoping to see Gary Wilson, who's played a bit of Matchroom 9-ball this year, by the way, so really loving it. I think he loves this Q Sports, loves traveling, loves the environment, but Gary Wilson picking up his second ranking event in a while, defending the Scottish Open over Napan Singham. Napan Singham, a really fast, fun, kind of flamboyant player, having his best finish. I believe that's his first final ever, Napan Singham, so very, very well done, Napan. We're hope to see him win. I would say Singham is one of those guys that's been in the wings, kind of waiting for a ranking title for a while. So next year, now that he's got this experience under his belt, let's look for Napan Singham. Seems a really, really nice guy and a great player and fun to watch. That was December 17th. Like I said, that's some snooker coverage for you. But now, let's move on to the top 10 AZ Billiards money ranking list. Also, as a caveat to this, there is no ranking list for money in pool that is more comprehensive, in my opinion, than the AZ Billiards money list. Mike Howerton of AZ Billiards has been keeping these money lists for ages. They literally just take every single tournament that gets recorded that any player has played, and they stack it and count it just like you would on a sort of in a spreadsheet formation. I think it's the best money list in the world. These will never be accurate. Before you think, oh, what about their expenses? Yes, we know. There's going to be a lot of expenses. We don't know what their sponsorships are. The players range all over the place. This doesn't include any gambling money that may or may not have exchanged hands, but I think the list is about as good as it gets, and AZ Billiards does a fantastic job. So, we're only going to go over the top 10 to save some time. People made some real money this year. We're going to start at number 10 with Viktor Zalinski. The young Pole cashed in at $109,800 or $652 this year. Fantastic. He got 3 wins. He won the Alpha Las Vegas Open, the Mez 9-Ball Open, and the Michigan Open. That's his best year by far. We've been hearing about Viktor Zalinski for a long time. He's had a bunch of high finishes. We know how talented he is in that crazy talented group of Poles. He may be the best. Now, with those players, it's very difficult to say. There's 5 Poles that may be the best at any given time, and lots of the Polish players had big wins this year. Fantastic for those guys. I hope this whole WPA Matchroom thing doesn't affect how they're getting paid out of their associations, but that's another conversation. Viktor Zalinski finishing in the 10th spot, making well over 6 figures. 3 wins. He had 1 second, 1 third. He did have his 1 third place, though, I did want to mention, was at the International Open, though, one of the big independent majors. Once again, well done, Viktor. And I calculated everyone's top 5 percentage. So let me explain this real quick. I didn't want to go too far in the rabbit hole with this. So what I did was I took all the tournaments that the players cashed in, and I reduced the winning percentage down to the top 5. So it's all the tournaments you cashed in, what was your percentage of finishing in the top 5? Viktor Zalinski played 21, or he cashed in, I should say, 21 events, and he finished in the top 5 11 times for a 52.38 top 5 cash percentage. Pretty darn good. If you could do that every year, well, obviously, as Viktor's saying, you're making 6 figures. So Viktor Zalinski finishing 10th on the list, and we are looking for more of Viktor next year. I do think, well, he had 3 big wins this year. Look for Viktor to win a Matchroom major next year. I know that will be his goal, and I know his goal will be to be on the Mosconi Cup for the first time ever, and to be the first Polish player on the Mosconi Cup as well. Watch out for Viktor because he is coming right along. In 9th place, we have the venerable at this point, Jasmin Ouschan, finishing out with $114,577, despite only having 1 win this year. That's a group win. He won the Mosconi Cup. Jasmin with no wins, shockingly, and was still making $114,000. Very, very good for Jasmin. He finished second once. He had 2 third places, and then he was in the top 5 twice. A very, very quiet year. He played 17, or he cashed in 17 events, I should say. He was in the top 5 6 times for a pretty meager 35.29 top 5 percentage. For Albin Ouschan, a year that he could never look back on as one of his best, and he made $114,000 this year. If you don't think pool is headed in the right direction money-wise, I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I know there's a whole lot of debate about this, and you could, what was his actual profit percentage on that $114,000? I get it, but I'm saying 5 years ago, there's no way in hell Albin could have done that. He would have cashed out with $40K and been, grinding out lessons and looking for money. So pool is headed in the right direction. Albin Ouschan in 9th place with $114K. Very well done there. In 8th place, I'm proud to say, David Alcaraz from Spain coming in with $120,920 with 3 wins. He won the Jacoby 9-ball Open. He, won the European Open, his first giant major. Let's go. And he was on the winning Mosconi Cup team. That right there would be a really nice, he would have cashed in quite a bit of money with those. But he also got second at the International 9-ball Open, another very, very good independent major outside of Matchroom. Very good for him. He cashed in 19 events. He was in the top 5 7 times for a 36.84 top 5 percentage. Not a great top 5 percentage, but he really won when it counted this year. David Alcaraz having his best year ever. Very well done, David. A 7th place, a cool one here, Eckland Catchy. Famously breaking his arm earlier. Eckland only cashed in 8 events this year. 8 events. He took half the year, sort of took half the year off and cashed in with $129,700 with 2 wins at the World 10-ball Championships and the UK Open. So if you're only going to have 2 wins, let's go. 2 giant wins. And he also got second at the World Pool Masters. He cashed in only 8 events, and he was in the top 5 times for a 62.5 top 5 percentage. Very, very good if you can keep that up all year. With how solid Eckland is, you could see him doing something like only playing 12 events a year and making $150K. I mean, I think, in my opinion, that would be the dream, not having to travel all over the place like Fedor Gorst, who we'll get to. Fedor played more events than anyone this year. Now, he made a lot of money for it, but boy, oh boy, try to keep that travel schedule up year over year. All right, coming in 6th place, we have Jasmin Ouschan, who really closed out the year super strong with $138,488. He had 4 wins this year. He won the Turning Stone Classic early in the year, the J.K. Flowers Scottish Open much later in the year, but then winning the Hanoi Open, his first Matchroom major, and that gigantic Vietnamese crowd. He really thrived on that, and he carried that momentum into the Mosconi Cup with a win where Jasmin Ouschan played amazing. He had great energy, and if it wasn't for Joshua Filler having what was really a masterpiece here, it probably would have been the MVP. But Jasmin Ouschan also finishing second twice. He cashed 19 times. He was in the top 5 8 times for a 42.1 top 5 cash percentage. Considering a lot of his year was relatively quiet, minus with a great start with Turning Stone. But Turning Stone, independent event, only pays 10 grand. That didn't last him through most of the year. So I'm sure before he won the Scottish Open, or the J.K. Flowers Scottish Open, I should say, I'm sure he was getting a little worried. But just like last year, man, Jasmin Ouschan closes. He does seem like a guy that when his back's against the wall, he really comes with the heat. So well done, Jason, finishing 6th on the list without having his best year. That's pretty scary. A guy like Jason is highly capable. It's surprising that Jasmin Ouschan hasn't taken down like 3 majors in a year. And it might just be he makes enough money off 1 or 2 majors that he's, goes home, spends time with his family, and he owns a pool hall there in Connecticut that I'm sure takes up a lot of his time. So anyway, very well done, Jason, coming in the 6th spot. In the 5th spot on the money list, you knew this guy was coming. Ping Chung Ko, Little Ko, coming in with $176,205. Ko, not as many wins as I actually thought this year, but all of his wins were massive. He had 3 wins. He won the Maldives Open, he won the Sharks International Open in the Philippines, and he won the U.S. Open 9-ball. Let's go. Boom. I mean, the guy, the last 6 months of his year were amazing. Little Ko played amazing this year. I love his stroke. He's so smooth. Ko never looks rattled. He makes the balls just float into the pockets. If you really want to study a guy's stroke delivery, study the way Little Ko's hitting the ball right now. He's delivering with no tension whatsoever in his stroke, and he's letting that cue ball just work with his own momentum. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to see. Cue him up on YouTube and go check out some Little Ko if you want to improve your game. He had 2 second-place finishes and 1 third place. He cashed 15 times and was in the top 5 11 of those times for a 73.33 top 5 percentage. That will get you the money every single year. Well done, Little Ko, and we will absolutely be looking for him next year. He is young, he's in the prime of his career, and he is used to winning. So that is a man you do not want to draw in 2024. And he'll be taking down some majors. Excited to see that. In 4th place, the world number 1, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, El Ferrari, cashing in. Our first guy making over $200K, $211,833. He had 3 wins. Started off the year amazing, winning the World Pool Championships, the 9-ball World Pool Championships. He won the Premier League. That's 2 Matchroom majors, basically back-to-back. Fantastic. And he had a ton of top 5s this year. A great season. That's 6 top 5s. He had 2 top 3s, but otherwise it seemed like he was relatively quiet in the middle of the year. But he was finishing great all over the place. Like, I was surprised when I went back and really looked at his stats. The guy's amazing. He had 19 cashes this year. He was in the top 5, 11 of those for a 57.89 top 5 percentage. That's amazing. Obviously the world champion, world number 1 all year. We're going to see next year, because the race is very close now, can Francisco Sanchez Ruiz have a slight return to that dominant form that Filler is showing right now, get past the Little Ko's and the Fedor Gorst of the world, and retain, keep having that number 1 spot on the World 9-ball Tour? That's a hard road to haul, but FSR is a popular guy. He plays fast, he plays on instinct, and we're going to look forward. The top 5 this year are going to be epic. So well done, FSR. I think everybody in the world would say he's had the best last 2 years. A great guy, and we're hoping to see him continue on. In 3rd place, Shane Van Boening, the lone American on the list. Well done, Shane, having an epic year, coming in with $240,663. He had 7 wins, 4 second places, 5 third places. He had 33 cashes, and he was in the top 5 22 of those times. Very, very impressive, with a 66.66 top 5 win percentage. Very, very good. Let's check out his wins real quick. The Derby City Classic Bigfoot Challenge, the Midwest Expo Big Dog 9-ball, the Brendan Crockett Memorial, the 2nd annual Weir Memorial 9-ball, the World 8-ball Championship, huge win for $75K there, and the International Open Bigfoot 10-ball Championship. I mean, wow. I included a win here that I normally wouldn't have. He won the Shane Van Boening versus Tony Chohan 1-pocket rematch. I included it in his wins because AZ Billiards included it in his wins. Normally I wouldn't have done that because it was a gambling match, but in this rare exception, Shane Van Boening won the rematch, the famous rematch against Tony Chohan in the 1-pocket, which I actually thought Shane Van Boening was a little bit of an underdog there, so very well done, Shane. Once again, cashing in with $240K. Let's go. I haven't seen numbers like this in my lifetime in pool, by the way. $240,000, and that's not including any sponsorships or any. I don't know how he makes any of the rest of his money, but those are impressive numbers. We're coming up on $250,000 for pool players. Very well done. And saying that, let's get to 2nd place, the Ghost, Fedor Gorst, the newly Americanized Russian Fedor Gorst, cashing in with $277,479. Holy cow, some big cash. If Joshua Fedor wasn't alive, we'd all be talking about Fedor Gorst. Fedor Gorst has 15 wins this year. 15 wins. That's incredible. He cashed 38 times. Try to play 38 events in a year. That is a ton. It is hard to do that. 38 cashes with 33 top 5 finishes. 38 cashes, 33 top 5 finishes. That is an 86.84 top 5 winning percentage. That's incredible. That's incredible. I can't even, I mean, talk about consistency. My Lord. Fedor with an amazing year. 15 wins, 5 seconds, 4 thirds, 3 fourth places, and 6 top 5s. I mean, the guy was just, he was everywhere. He was everywhere. It was weird because Joshua Fedor has had a better year, but you heard about Fedor more. But Fedor was just active. Let's run down some of these wins real quick, because the start of his year in January is the most impressive thing that I've ever seen any pool player do, ever. That's including Efren Reyes, that's including everybody. Listen to this. The Mini Derby 1 Pocket, win. Mini Derby Open 10 Ball, win. Mini Derby Open 8 Ball, win. Mini Derby Open Banks ring game. He won everything. He clean swept it. It is amazing. He could have stopped. He could have just went home and hung out the rest of the year. Then he wins the Derby City Classic Banks, the Derby City Classic 9 Ball, the Derby City Classic Master of the Table for the 2nd year in a row, which is insane. The Bayou State Classic 1 Ball, 1 Pocket, Skinny Bob's 9 Ball Classic, Skinny Bob's 1 Pocket, the US Open 8 Ball, and the US Open 10 Ball, the Buffalo 1 Ball 1 Pocket, the Turning Stone Classic, and the Perry 9 Ball Open. Holy cow, that's epic. The only thing that was weird with Fedor this year is he won everything but a lot of majors. 2nd at the US Open, top 5 at several Matchroom 9 Ball majors. Epic stuff. I mean, that's a great season for anybody, but he was winning so many other things. It was weird that he didn't win a giant 9 Ball major on the World 9 Ball Tour this year. Will he win one next year? Absolutely. Unless he, God forbid, anything bad happens to him, I don't think you can keep that guy out of the winner's circle. It'll take a guy like Phil or a guy like Shaw or Albin or somebody. There's very few people. FSR, Little Co, Big Co, only the elites of the elite are going to be able to stop Fedor, and he is coming for those titles. Once again, $277,000 this year, and just skyrocketing out of sight as one of pool's biggest stars, if not pool's biggest star. But let's get to Mr. Number 1, the killer, Joshua Fedor. $328,000, $328,446. That's the most money I've ever seen a pool player make. That's a long way above everybody else. He only cashed in 27 events. He was in the top 5 19 times for a 70.37 top 5 percentage. But what Josh did was win when the money was right. Let's go down his wins. Firstly, 4 Euro Tour wins in a row this year, but he had one last year, making a record 5 Euro Tour wins in a row. They're going to have to ban this guy from the tour. It's incredible. He won the Wisconsin Open. He won the China Open for really big money. He won the World Pool Team Championship for really big money. He won the Qatar Open. Once there's another $50,000 win. Epic. And he was the MVP of the European winning Mosconi Cup team. He finished 2nd 3 times. He finished 3rd 4 times, 1 4th place, and 2 top 5s. Look, everybody knows that Fedor, as far as playing rotation, and I'm not saying he's not the best at a lot of the other games too, but definitely at rotation, he seems to be the best player alive. Go look at his Mosconi Cup performance this year. We actually check out our episode of the Mosconi Cup that we released last month. Joshua Fedor crushes it. I mean, he is making the balls from everywhere. It looks like he was playing on a bar table and everybody else was playing on a snooker table. It's epic what he's doing right now. Can he keep that up? Can any human being keep that up for very long? We're going to see. But Joshua Fedor, a very simple, very repeatable stroke, He's only becoming a better winner, and he's very young. I think he's 26 now. Ooh, baby, we could be seeing Joshua Filler at the top of a list like this for many years to come, and the competition below him with the Gorst and the Little Coes of the world, the FSR, amongst others. Shane Van Boening still capable of snapping off big events. Once again, Ronnie O'Sullivan, 47. Shane Van Boening's only 40. You know he's got to be looking at Ronnie thinking, hey, let's go. My career doesn't have to be on a downward slide. I would love to see Shane winning well into his 40s. And big money. Big money this year. I'm literally excited doing this episode. This is epic. $328K. $328K. And that's not including his sponsors or any money he gets coaching or any other way he makes money. I don't care. That's huge money for pool, and it's only going to grow. Matchroom with the World 9-Ball Tour, they're on a run. The money's going to be bigger next year. The whole WPA thing with these Qatar events and the Maldives Open, let's see if that keeps up. I think it's going to be a very interesting year for pool news. I'm excited. I want to see somebody win $500,000 next year. I think somebody can do it. If you have a guy go on a big run, we could see our first, well, not the first. Efren Reyes, I believe, did it back in the day, but it's very, very rare. It almost never happens. And we might see a pool player over a couple years make $1 million on paper, which would be fantastic. The game's headed in the right direction. I'm really, really excited to be here for it, and I'm excited to bring it to you guys. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this top 10 breakdown list. I liked putting it together. It's fun. I might do it on some other things. Thank you guys very much for queuing in again. We love bringing you the news here. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment on the show. Tell us what we're doing good. Tell us what we're doing bad. But be nice, please. And we will see you next time. Good night.